All right, class is in session. Going to do another atomic attraction. Got a couple more chapters to go. This has been a great book. It's actually helped me going back through this and seeing what's attractive, but also seeing what's not attractive is helpful. And then just having that baseline of always pushing strength and masculinity. If you think about something in broad terms, if you don't think it's masculine, if you don't think it shows strength, then it probably is not going to be attractive to the woman. So that's just a good way to kind of get a broad base or a broad brush anything, right? You know, I just did a video on the Love Me documentary regarding men, kind of like a passport bros, men going overseas to pick up Ukrainian women, and the hand holding, you know. And I went back to reading this book, The Atomic Attraction, hand holding. Those guys were very needy. Right there, every one of those guys, they were needy. All of them held the girl's hand, and it doesn't look attractive. Anyway, all right, let's move on. We're going on to chapter 35. Chapter 35, maintain attraction. This is like, you know, long-term, when you find a girlfriend and you want to get into a long-term relationship or a marriage, or you're in a marriage and you want to, make sure you're maintaining attraction. That's the hardest part, is maintaining that attraction. But basically, it's what did you do on day one that got the girl? You got to keep doing it every day. And what I say is, in life, what separates the successful from the losers is consistency. Anybody can work out badass for one day. Anyone can eat clean for one day. Anyone can, run, a mile or 2 miles, stay on a workout program, or anybody can, just think of a challenge you want to do, I want to do this, but doing it, I'm going to go to church every week. Well, but staying consistent every week of your life, anyone can go to church for 1 week, anyone can go to church for a month, but can you do it, I'm just saying, if that was a goal, whatever your goals are, consistency, consistently making good choices. All right. Let's go. Maintain attraction, chapter 35. Even cowards can endure hardship. The brave can endure suspense. Mignon McLaughlin. If you are only worried about short-term relationships, then you don't need to worry about maintaining attraction over a long period of time. In short encounters, all that is required is that initial spark of attraction to catch a woman's attention. Let's see. And secure her on the other okay, to seduce her. Okay. Yes, you only need to capture her attention to seduce her, right? Okay. On the other hand, if you want to maintain attention, or you want to maintain a relationship or a marriage or whatever, long-term relationship, you must know how to keep the fires of the relationship alive, not just now, but over the course of many years. One reason the divorce rate is so high, and why women initiate up to 70% of the divorces, is that women often lose attraction for their husbands. Now, let me add my caveats. In my opinion, a lot of times the women never had that deep attraction for them. I know it's hard to hear. I've been part of that, but I had to learn, I think a lot of times women think they can do a beta male provider type relationship, and they can't. You got to be the alpha bang and a dual mating strategy. So, and yes, they, and a lot of times guys are lazy, and I don't want to just put this on guys, women too, because we forget that we think we want to believe in unconditional love. Oh, this person loves me unconditionally. See, the vows sound very like, I love you till you die, until the last day of your breath, and do you having to hold in sickness, but it's like, but how about in not dressing nice, and how about in not smelling good, and how about in getting overweight, and how about not having sex anymore? Do you have to, to have and to hold in sickness and in health, and in getting fat and not wearing stylish clothing? No, you got to maintain your, if you're in a marriage, you should maintain your fitness. You should maintain your, your standard of style. I mean, you maintain, your standard of energy in the relationship. You need to make sure that you guys are having, sexual relations and intimacy. And, so that's, what you did on day one, you got to keep doing every day. If you guys were attracted to it on day one, you'll probably be attracted to it on day 10,000. But oftentimes people want to, oh, we'll go eat ice cream together, and we'll just, instead of going to work out, we'll watch a movie, and then here you go, getting fat and unattractive. Well, she's going to see that hot guy at work. Well, she's going to like him more. Let's see. All right. Case study. Okay, yeah, so the case study was Ben and Irene. Ben was like this playa, is the way they said it. And, he used to have rotations, and, he used to be like pimp daddy. And when he has rotations, since he had options, he'd see a girl here. And Irene, the woman he ends up marrying, was one of the girls in his rotation. And at first, he didn't really notice her too much, But then all of a sudden, he started noticing her, and she started doing things sexually he liked, and she started giving all kinds of good attention, and the way she was affectionate to him, and she was just different than all the rest. So he dropped all his rotations, and he went and he married her, and he became totally devoted to Irene. And Irene didn't like this because, he's doing is being responsive to her needs, and he's, buying her stuff. And if she needs something, he's right on top of it, and what did he do? He quit something, and then he got her pregnant, and she's like, hey, then a lot of times this happens. Women don't realize, like, I don't know why I'm not digging this guy anymore, but a lot of times women are about feelings. They're not going to know why logically and rationally they're feeling something, but they know, and this is true, and this, I don't, because that's why we think, well, women are bad people because they, leave relationships and whatever, but it's like, but they don't, and if you ask, and then I asked her why she left the relationship, and she said she didn't know. She doesn't know. All she knows is, my vajayjay ain't getting wet anymore, and I don't like this person. I don't like being around this person. I'm getting mad because he's breathing loud. I'm getting mad because I don't even like to look at him. And women get that way. They get disgusted, and they can't even tell you why, because it's subconscious, But it is, hopefully, on some girls, you can, try to help them with the logic and reason, but, women aren't going to know why they're losing attraction for you oftentimes. And you're going to think they're lying because they say they don't know. No, they don't know. They just know why they're losing it, All right. Or they know that they are losing it. I'm sorry. So the point is Irene's pregnant, and he starts, just kind of just smothering her. And, lo and behold, she's basically like, I'm going to go ahead and have an abortion. I thought you were cool. And Irene ultimately breaks up with Ben. So he went from playa to overly invested, overly responsive, and we think as guys, rationally, that sounds like it should work, but women do not want you to be all doting on them. They say the surest way to lose a woman is to give her everything she wants, 100%, because women want a strong man, and women want a badass man that can go beat someone up. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's not. They can go do violence in like a split second. So if you're sitting there holding her hand and Netflix and chilling, and and she's gonna be like, well, what if the big bad wolf came in? We always are that person. Back in our ancestry days, that is who our brain is, our ape brain. And that's what it thinks about. So if you're sitting there eating frozen yogurt every night and playing a little patty cake with her, she's like, dude, this guy's weak. Anyway, all right, let's move on. In the early stages of the relationship, the connection is still fresh, correct, and the invigorating, and it's invigorating over time, and invigorating over time. The man starts to soften. Yes, he lets his guard down. Yes, and starts to become more responsive to her needs. That's what we talked about, exactly. He started to become more responsive to her needs, and he's softening, and it's because he's not as true as to his convictions, right? And then this becomes worse. This works for a time, but maybe it's a couple of weeks, maybe it's a couple of months, but over time, the woman becomes withdrawn. Yep, and that's when they don't say women leave you; they fade away, and it's true because they start noticing they're losing attraction, but they don't notice it right away. It's like the water is heating up slowly, and difficult to deal with. She's becoming difficult to deal with because she's coming withdrawn, right? With and for her part, the woman does not know why she has lost the attraction. Correct. She wants out, and as far as the woman is concerned, the relationship is dead. Yes, she won't even tell you a lot of times. We would call it checking out. And I've talked to many women about this. I've seen it in my own relationships. When they check out, they have checked out, and almost never you're getting that relationship back. She don't care if you died right in front of her. It's just the way women are. God bless them. All right. If you want to keep a relationship alive, you must know how to handle problems. Yes. When you start seeing her girl fade away, or you got to be able to analyze. Okay, was I being too needy this week? Was I being too gooey? Was I being too corny? Start thinking about it. Anyway, was I spending too much time at home and not doing stuff out and about? So you got to figure it out. Let's see. You must know how to handle problems when they arise, and most of the time you got to lead. She wants you to lead the relationship. And figure things out on your own. Don't be asking her. Okay. Need to know how to maintain attraction. You need to know how to maintain attraction over a long period of time. Correct. And keeping the fire of attraction alive through the good times and the bad. Correct. Exactly. And a man that knows women and knows relationships, he knows how to keep attraction alive in the good times and the bad. And he knows, okay, I know I was doing something wrong there, and you're able to identify. And I've done it myself. You can go boom. You can kind of look at something and go, I need to be leading better. I need to be getting out of the house. I need to be doing something. I need to be doing more social things away from her, or whatever it is. She had a project I didn't ask her about. Just something. And a woman a lot of times is not going to tell you. She's just going to become bitchy and naggy. But anyway, that's chapter 35, and we'll see you on the next one.